Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fight Insight Podcast. Let's talk.
We're back midweek. Here we go. We're going to put out 2 episodes this week because we have something very special for you, and we're very excited. Our guest today, he needs no introduction. His self-defense videos aimed at providing you intelligent options for increasing your survivability are viral sensations, and he has become a larger-than-life symbol for safety and positivity in the world. He is the founder of D.U.S.T, Detroit Urban Survival Training and Detroit Threat Management Center. Everybody, please raise an eyebrow and welcome to the podcast, Commander Dale Brown. Online. How are you, Commander Dale?
Great. How's it going?
Good. It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you back. Almost 1 year to the day since I last spoke with you.
Amazing. And a lot has happened. Unbelievable.
Oh, a lot has happened. Your life has exploded. I want to say it's all thanks to us, Commander Dale. I mean,
must have been last time, because after we talked, everything just went crazy.
Nuts. Like you know, I was so honored to have you on because you were the guy that was everywhere online, but I never really saw you in MMA stuff.
Never.
And then a month after we have you on, you are cornering. Apex. You're at the Apex.
At the Apex.
You're cornering our good friend, Joaquin Buckley. I'm going to put a photo up here. Yeah. Boom.
Yes. Guy. We are great friends today. I just talked to him yesterday.
That's awesome.
Great guy.
That's amazing. And how was that experience at the Apex with Joaquin?
Amazing. First of all, the Apex is a very professional, structured organization. I thought it was going to be kind of like you kind of go there, be fighters everywhere standing around, you kind of just, wait your turn, be some rabble rousing. I kind of looked like some things you saw in the military, kind of, a little organized, but then a little, free for all kind of thing. And it was none of that. It was very professionally structured from, A to Z. It was like everything you do, the clothes, the transportation, the communication, where you stand, where you go, what you say. Very, very structured. It was amazing. And I liked it. I'll say it was a pleasant experience too, because when you're around a bunch of professionals, right, it makes you feel positive just to be there. So it was really great. I met I didn't know I had so many MMA fans, and I did not know I had so many professional fighters that were my fans that were literally watching the videos, enjoying them, and were positive supporters. I did not know, because you see so many trolls, you start thinking the trolls are a lot higher number. They're a very small number. They're just a very loud group. Yes. And so once I got to the Apex, I realized that that's a very small group, and the professionals that are in professional fighting and other circles were very positive and very open and it's very supportive.
That's awesome. And I mean, the way that they were speaking about you too on the broadcast was beautiful. They were being very respectful. I was happy for that because I was waiting for some jerk to say something rude, in which case I would be coming, right?
Never. No. They never did. No one was ever rude there. No, not one group of fighters or their supporters or anybody was very, not just respectful, very supportive. Who's the guy with the most fights? Jim Miller. I met Jim Miller. Great guy. And his coach was like, yeah, this is one of your fans. Don't let him fool you. We got a chance to talk. That was great, man. Take pictures and everything. I met Khabib, very professional. Everybody was super respectful and professional. It was amazing.
That's awesome. No, it was great to see you, and it was great to see you in the cage at the end when Joaquin won. You're in there. So you are now officially a perfect record of 1-0 as a UFC cornerman. 2.
Almost. I was almost sort of cornerish, man, for another guy at Bellator.
That's right.
Talk about that though. But they at the Apex with Buckley, I was actually in the cage. And that's because, what's funny is it was all Buckley's idea, right? He called me out of the blue and said, I didn't know him or anything. He just said, hey, I want to come by and check out your training. So I'm a pro fighter. I want to come by and see what this is all about, flat out. And so I said, yeah, come on by. So we did tactics, man. And he was not saying he was going to be supportive. He never said, let me come by to show your techniques will work. He said, let me see if they work. And if they do, let us film, because they did their own independent filming. Like, we had no control over what they filmed. And so, I said, bring your cameras, bring your men, bring your people. He brought in his coaches. They're, really positive guys too. And they participated. So they did tactics, they did disarms, they did actual resistance drills with me. And one of their coaches is like an ex-NFL football. One of his coaches is an ex-NFL lineman. So he's giant Viking. He was like, wait, I can't believe this. Let me see that. Let me try that technique. So I did it to him, all these different techniques with him. He was like, I can't believe it. No one's ever thrown me around like that. This guy's over 300 pounds, and also without hurting people. So remember, our techniques, what makes them so good is you can use them as a way of creating positive change without getting court dates for yourself. So most things we show is how not to injure people, right? If I got to move someone, I got to get past someone, I got to hold someone against their will. How do I do that without creating legal problems for myself? So, that's really the thing I really want to emphasize to people is that, the training is really for everyone. There's not anyone that doesn't need it. I don't care what your industry is, what kind of fighting styles, what you do. It's for everyone, because all it does is gives you more legal ways to define your actions and better ways to not injure people and have to go to court and pay for those injuries and or go to jail or prison for those injuries. So our goal is to help you have a better life, which includes the part where you don't get killed by guns and knives, but also so you don't get prosecuted more than you should be.
Yeah, no, and Braydbunch, last year when we had Commander Dale on the podcast, and for all our viewers and listeners that didn't watch that first episode, go back and watch it, because Commander Dale, I will admit, you shocked me with your personality and your openness, because I'd never seen that side of you. But you talk a lot in our first episode about where you came from, what your training is about, and how serious it is. And I really appreciate that, because it was almost like the man behind the mask. You know what I mean? But it was great reveal, and you talk about your center. Now you kind of led into the Bellator, because yes, you also helped out, and I'll put a photo here. There you are with Mr. Daniel James. There's some great videos with you, with your training that you did with him. And for those that don't know, Daniel James is a Bellator heavyweight.
And he is a non-believer. He's a believer now, but when his wife was there too. And we did knife disarms, gun disarms. We did a lot of tactics off from those videos too. And he was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He's like right there on film. He's like, look, I'll tell you honest. I'll be honest with you. I was in Russia last few years. I'm watching your videos. He goes, I said to my wife that I can defeat all these techniques. Every one of these are just terrible. I can defeat that. I can defeat this. He goes, you asked my wife. His wife was like, yeah, he said that. He's like, I can defeat them all. He's like, man, I can't believe this is real. I can't believe it.
and so not only that, but at Bellator 288, he fights and he credits you for something.
Yes, he goes on an Instagram post, and I actually saw him in the lobby of the hotel after his fight, talking to a group of people, and he said, man, I saw this. I remember this video, and it was where you reach back during the RNC and you push the guy's face back like this, and into the. What we do is we have two ways to do it. One is the bones of the face, and you dig into the bones up here, and the other one is you dig the eye out as you go. So if you don't want to hurt them, you go to the eye. If you want to get them off you without injuring them, you put your thumb or your fingers inside the bones, the orbit here, upper orbit, lower orbit, anywhere around the eye. But you dig in that bone, you pull them off you, and they'll get off of you, no matter how big they are. And I didn't show him that though. It was just in the video. He said that, and it was funny. Showtime was there, right? And what was really funny before that was that the people that brought me in was their social media department, right? They were like, oh, it'd be cool to have you part of this in Chicago. And I knew Twista the rapper, and Twista the rapper got involved. And it turns out this guy was Twista's bodyguard 5 years before. And so we all connected and did some videos together for the promotion. Really positive. What's funny is I got up on stage, the social media department was like, hey, you should stand over here like your security for the weigh-ins. You'll stand back there. And then they sent the security guy away. So I became the real security guy for the weigh-ins.
Nice.
So the owner comes over and goes, yeah, I'll go in. Sometimes get a little heated. If they do, just do your thing, take them down, whatever you got to do. I was like, I don't think they actually hired me for that, sir. I'm like, I'm supposed to be like a social media guy. But okay, that's fine. And nothing happened, man. And there was two guys that didn't get along that were out of control. like really hostile towards each other. They had me literally right between them, sitting down. You see that part?
Yep.
And then standing up, and they never touched each other at all while I was there. They didn't lean on each other, nothing, right? But as soon as they had him in the ring without me there in the cage, they went at it. They actually started hitting each other or something in there. Had me in there. She had me in the cage too. It's really positive. What's funny is that Showtime reporters came over. I mean, the camera guy. It's like, all right, who do you want to win? I try to stay neutral, because I'm there for the promotion. I wasn't brought in by a fighter. And so they said, they right now we want to know who. We want to know who. You got to pick one. The heavyweights, one of the heavyweights. I was like, okay, Daniel James, since, I did videos with him. I guess that's my guy. I support him. So next thing you know, Daniel James up there. And next thing you know, he is on the ground. He is done. He's in a rear naked choke. It's over. And I was like, oh my God, this is the worst day ever. No, they're going to report this everywhere. I supported the loser. I showed him some techniques and then he lost. Right? The Buckley thing was great. Now my guy's going to lose. No, I was so neutral till right before his fight. And then it's all like 3 minutes later, I was like, my guy's going to lose. And then all of a sudden he reaches back, pushes up, turns over, bam, and starts beating the guy down, and he wins. And I was like, oh, hey, right? I was like, I know that was my. I said to myself, I go, that's my move. I know that was my move. My wife and I were like, that's our move. And I didn't talk to him though after that because the fighters go to own separate way and everything, right? And so I caught him a couple hours later in the lobby. He was telling people, he's like, I saw black. I was getting knocked out. I was he had me in the rear naked choke, locked in. I couldn't get out. He said, all of a sudden everything went black. And I was passing out. And I remember this one video where he said, reach back there. So I reached back there and it worked. And then I came down I was just coming down the escalator when I saw him, and I was like, oh, I said, hey man, I was going, he goes, yes, hey man, it worked. I saw your video, man. I remember that video. Because he and I didn't go over that technique when we were fooling around doing our videos and things before the fight.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was amazing because one of the things people complain about is they say, well, you can't show stuff to people because they can't learn it that fast. They can't learn from a video.
Right.
Actually, they can learn from conversation. Actually, they can do stuff anyway. People fight and survive every single day against violent rapists, robbers, murderers without any training. Okay. So disarm guns with no training. It happens all the time. What I'm doing is increasing your likelihood of survivability by giving you more knowledge than you primarily would have. That's all.
Yep.
I'm not going to make you into a ninja because what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some really good ideas. So you're going to have better ideas you would have had normally so you can increase survivability for you and your family. That's all. And it just turns out it also works for fighters, which I had no idea that, I think the glove helped, the fighter's gloves. It's kind of like that. So if you have the glove on and your fingers are behind the glove, you can't really see what the fingers are doing. So I think that helps.
Sure. I'd be afraid to take the eye out if I was going for the orbital bone.
I think this is illegal too. I think this is illegal.
Yeah, I think any pressure thing is. But hey, the thing is, and the thing is, Commander Dale, so after your podcast appearance with us here, obviously I was flooded with comments in support of what you were doing, but of course there were those negative ones. And after meeting you, because I had no clue who you were, I didn't know what kind of gentleman you were or what kind of professional you were. But after meeting with you, huge fan, huge supporter, and I'm out there in droves supporting you. When the comments started coming in on the podcast, they were like, this is crap. This doesn't work. You can't do this. And I would keep reiterating what you just said, which is, look, people are doing this every day. They're put in bad situations. Commander Dale's not telling you to go out and get into an altercation where you need to use this technique.
Right.
It's that
all I'm doing is helping you out.
Yeah. And the fact that fighter can say, hey, I thought of that in that moment. Look, that moment was going to go bad.
Evidence, right. That's your empirical evidence that you need to shut down the haters and trolls that are factual based, which is about 10% of them at the most.
Yeah.
90% just don't give a shit. They don't care about facts. They don't care. They start looking at facts. They find stuff that doesn't fit their cognitive bias. They start tripping out like, oh, this is bullshit. Okay, you can't be in Detroit for 28 years. Some people couldn't even last 28 years just being alive. So other people, they definitely can't go out and protect people unless what they're doing works. And so I would be dead for sure if my techniques didn't work. And I'm not here. I'm not able to go out and protect people. I have over 3,500 team members. They would not be alive if we didn't have the training to support the mission. You can't protect families in Detroit or anywhere else really effectively without some kind of training system. So without that, you can't replicate it. You can do it like one off or twice or something, but you couldn't do it as consistently. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's 28 years. I've had no days off for 28 years. So right. I don't have vacation time. I don't have holidays. I'm a private entity. That means I was responsible day one and in 1994 when I started teaching in parks, and I'm still responsible for what I teach, what I say, and what I do. So if my students did not survive, then we would know by now. If my team members were not successful, the people we train to protect others were not successful, we would know that as well. Because you can't make people pay you. I'm not the government. I work for the people. So if people are not happy, they will unpay. They will not continue to pay you. That's why I don't mind the private sector. For me, private sector is great. So I'm able to meet and exceed their expectations, and then I'm able to get paid for that. And that's because people like to be alive and safe, and they like those that bring it to them, and they're willing to pay for that.
That's right. Now, one of the people that came on one of my posts was a professional UFC fighter. And I don't know if you remember this. I mean, you see so much stuff. But at the time when I was posting one of your photos after your podcast appearance, Mr. Sean Strickland appears in my post, Braydbunch, and starts going off.
As I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Now, this is 1 year ago, Sean Strickland. So this was kind of when he was just getting into this character or revealing who he is, and we can get to that. And he starts saying, I will spar Commander Dale, and starts challenging you. And I'm just going to put up a quick, brief little photo here. 90% of self-defense instructors are tool bags, and what they teach is baloney, couldn't fight, blah, blah, blah. And he starts going off. And I was surprised. Admittedly, Braydbunch, I was happy that a UFC fighter was even seeing my posts anyway. So I'm like, all right.
Right.
So we started to engage, and I said to Sean, after we were going back and forth, and I raised the points that you do, Dale, I said, hey, look, because then he starts saying, I want to challenge Commander Brown to sparring. I want to challenge him. I said, well, look, I want to challenge you to come on this podcast, and let's talk about it, because
good idea.
Like, here's the thing. Not every self-defense instructor is the greatest fighter in the world. Like, I don't even understand that mentality, right?
And not fighter can teach self-defense. In fact, most fighters can't teach self-defense because what they're doing would not work out of weight class, and not 99.99% of fighters with them being a professional have lost using those same techniques. Yep. Think about that. You're showing someone something, you lost that, and you're way better than they're ever going to be. Like I never teach anything that I have to be better than you at in order to use. Like an eye strike doesn't matter if you can do more push-ups. A throat strike doesn't matter if you have a better combination of strikes. One throat strike, one eye strike, your groin being removed by being torn from your body, a bitten hole in your flesh by somebody's mouth, whether it's a small female or a male, biting a hole in your flesh is going to change your mind about conflict.
So Commander Dale, we get into this conflict with Sean. He then ghosts me and doesn't engage anymore in terms of me saying, hey, why don't you come on the podcast? Let's talk about this, because I spoke with Commander Dale. I get his point of view. I'd like to talk this out. Don't really see too much until just this last week. But between last year and now, did you know who Sean Strickland was? Was he constantly in your DMs calling you out?
No. He just said he was going to sodomize me.
Well, hold on. That's when he meets you. But through this year, you're not.
No, he met me. He didn't say anything like that. No, absolutely not.
Yes.
No. Okay. He said that on the media. So I met him for the first time 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. He at the SHOT Show in Las Vegas.
So can I just show? I'm just going to show a quick clip. People will have seen this because this is making the rounds everywhere you go. Online.
Oh shit! Oh, this is the guy. Oh, this is it. I know. Hey, my buddy Buckley. Oh yeah, how you doing, man? You are Sean Strickland.
So that's
He's very friendly. Did you see my foot leg?
Yeah, well, I saw that you were about to kick him.
Yeah. Because he walked slow enough, so it was not going to be an issue. But that's to let him know, like, if there was a speed, I would apply pressure. So there'd be no backing up. So his energy was positive. So he was very fun, very positive. There was nothing crazy in his attitude or nothing. It's all show for him. He's put on a great show. He is a person that understands social media.
Yes.
And he plans to use it to his full potential. He has texted me since this next video where he decides to not participate in what we're doing, which is I'm doing a demo on how our techniques work. I told him if we want to spar, we want to actually do this the way he's talking about. We need to go out to the desert alone. We need to go out there. Whoever's going to film it, we'll go out there. We won't be around any witnesses. It'll be just us, other than the camera person, and we'll go out there in the desert. That's where we need to go and handle that. We can't do this in the city. We can't do this around here, right? And I said, but in here, I said, I'll do a demo with you. I'll show you what we do, what kind of things we teach, so you can experience it. And you don't have to go along with it. You can resist the technique, but you know what? We're not changing the technique. I'm showing you what to do. Someone pushes you. I'm giving you 3 different options: escape, control, immobilize. He decided when I'm showing him how to control, he's going to now go do something else, and he's going to go faster than I'm going. If I go fast, you're definitely going to break a wrist. There's no way to go fast with this technique and not break someone's wrist. It's impossible. So I go fast enough so you can feel it, but not fast enough to break anything. And I do it all the time. And the techniques I demonstrate online, I do that because these people don't sign waivers. I do this in the street. I do this, anywhere. And I can't afford to have anyone broken. Not one lawsuit, not one. And so we got to demonstrate without hurting people. And so I can only imagine if his wrist got broken, I understand 100%. He'd be the first person to get a lawyer and want to sue for, career problems. So there's no way I'm going to be going around doing demos on people that have been breaking their wrists because they resisted or did something like that. They can still resist and still stay within the framework of the drill we're doing. You can actually feel it. You can try to resist it with energy and you still feel it. But if you change up to something else, that will change up to something else, which leads to another level of escalation, which of course we really don't want to try to do, especially in a gun shop.
Yes.
So this video is a gun shop.
So just for the purpose of this, I am going to show that quick clip, if you don't mind. I'm just going to show what happens here. And now you've set it up perfectly. So here it is.
Come here. Oh, man. Sorry about that. So, we got aggressive here. Let me help you. Oh, man.
So there's no animosity on that video. He really didn't actually hit me. If you look at it, he said he just kind of leaned on me. That gun case was not bolted to the ground. So what happened was as he pushed me back, where you normally brace, put your foot back, I couldn't put my foot back because there's a case there, and then the case falls. So as it's falling, I have to sit down, or I'm going to fall on my back. Yeah. Now they've taken that to ESPN and every other publication is Commander Brown's been defeated. That's a defeat. We really have we have a real different definition of defeat. That's a defeat. I didn't know. I didn't know it was a defeat.
So, Commander Dale, can I just get to understand though? So you meet him at the show floor that we showed the first video, where he comes up to you, and
that was at the Action Convention Center. Yeah.
So then he introduces himself to you, because it's funny because you're like, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm Sean Strickland." So at that point, at least,
I did not know him.
Yeah. So
I saw a guy. I saw a guy that kind of looks like a skinhead walking straight at me. That's all I saw. Wasn't sure who he was, but he's walking straight at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to have to kick your knee.
Sure. Yeah. It's go time. Now, after that, though, and you have that pleasant altercation or that pleasant interaction with him, how does it get to the point where you're at the gun store with him?
I was invited by the people at the gun store. The people that own the gun store. All the pro fighters were invited. There was a bunch of MMA pro fighters in there, male and female. Okay. And then I was invited as well. The pro fighter was the gun store was there. Gun store owners were actually off the side of Strickland at the time when I met him. They were like, could you please come to our store later? We're having a party. And they had catered food and everything. And so I met all the gun store people and shooters. They had some shooters there, some competitive shooters. And so we did tactics for hours after Strickland left.
Okay.
And you know what? I feel bad. They should be sharing more of that footage, right?
Yeah, they're not sharing none of that. We will though today.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, they don't share any of that. I sent it to the Bellator thing with the statement from the fighter saying that he used our technique. I've sent it everywhere. Nobody shared it. Nobody shared that our tactics worked for a heavyweight fighter in MMA, a pro fighter. Why would you not share the tactic worked? I mean, that's controversial. I think I'd want to see that. I'm like, well, let me see this proof of this, right?
Yeah.
Total crickets, nothing.
So, well, Dale, after this podcast, do send it to me because I would love to post that, and I'll post that and share that, of course. Like, I love that stuff. Now, you're at the gun store. Oh, sorry, Braydbunch, go ahead.
Just a quick question. Or you know what? I'm going to wait for this question for after. I'm going to hold on to it. Timmy, you go on.
All right. So you're at the gun store. You're engaging with a whole bunch of other people, and then this kind of thing happens. And
no. That happened as soon as we walked in the store.
Oh.
we walked in. I did like a tour with the owner, and then we walked up front. He was talking about, he wanted to know what it was like to kill somebody, and what do you feel like? Will you feel bad if you killed people? He was like talking to like a small group of people. He's like, I just don't know. I don't know. What it feels like to kill somebody. What if you killed somebody? He's just talking random. And, he's just like, if something happened, and I said, well, I've been in situations, and I can tell you, using fatal force is not something you want to do, but I've had to do it to deal with active shooters. So I can tell you from experience that you don't feel bad if it's exigency. If it's exigent. So if you had to shoot someone like I did, because that person was actively shooting people, the person I had to shoot was shooting my men at the time. So shot two of my guys, then I had to shoot that person. So therefore, I don't feel any remorse for that direct person, but I do feel that if I could have done a better job at communicating ahead of time, I could have stopped him from believing that he had an opportunity to kill people. And this guy was a hitman for the Jamaican posse, and it turns out he was he was also wanted for killing an entire family, like a block over from this place where we're at in Detroit. And that came from the tactical services section, the police officers that came to the scene. They were like, good shoot, thank you. But they were looking for him for like 9 months. But there's killers out here, and they're everywhere. But here in Detroit, it's hard to catch up to them a lot of times because there's not a lot of witnesses. And one of the reasons you get witnesses is because they'll kill you and your family for being a witness. And if they can't get to you because you're locked up, they're hiding you in a witness protection program, aka jail, they'll blow up your family, they'll burn your family out. And so we actually help protect those families as well. So we do both. And what we specialize in creating conditions where nobody gets killed. So that's what I really work towards constantly. How do we create conditions for the violent criminal element not to be able to attack in the first place? How do we change their mindset? And that's where the real, not just positive conditions are. It's where the profit is. Anytime there's killing, it's non-profitable. Anytime there's violence, it's non-profitable. So it's not a good business. It's not good for your business. It's not good for your family, your community. Anything that's not good for the family, community is not good for business. So ultimately, I'm self-funded. So all the money comes from the people that I have, comes from the people, not from government. There's no government funding. So everything's self-funded. So our team members are all self-funded, our vehicles, everything. So as a result, we're able to go out and help people consistently because we have the funding to do so. That only comes because we create successful, peaceful communities.
I've got sort of two questions to ask. One relates to Strickland, one relates to people you've helped in general. So I guess I'm curious. I wish I knew all the fighters that were there at the time, because part of me.
Some of them are more well known than others. Some of them have fights that are coming up now or something. A couple of them.
And
I'll put up some videos. You'll see them in the videos.
And I bet you, I just catch on. I feel like when Sean Strickland is around some of his crew or some of his friends, he probably gets more of that clownish, I'm going to mess with people type personality in him.
Yeah, a little bit. He wasn't bad. Honestly, he was not like the persona you see in the camera. Wasn't like that. He's actually a lot calmer than that.
And you know what?
Calmer. He's actually a lot calmer than that.
Interesting.
He spikes for like, just for this video, it's almost like a clip, like soundbite, like a video soundbite, like he'll blow up in a clip and then shut it down again. And then blow up in a clip and then shut it down again. So you can have a clip you can use for videos. Otherwise, just having a normal conversation.
Well, that's what I was curious about, because I feel like a lot, that's how I read him. Sometimes I see a little smirk trying to not come out when he's doing some things. And when he knocked that, when you guys had that incident happen, part of me felt like he had a look of like kind of embarrassment on his face. Kind of like, I wanted to mess with you, but like not like that.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't mean to do that. He smashed the glass. It smashed the glass in there, and all the guns were on the ground, and the glass shelves were all broken. So it was a pretty big mess in there. But I'm just glad that we didn't fall in the glass. I didn't, pull him down on me, and there's a lot of options that could have gone there.
Yes.
And, either one of us lost control. He didn't. If you look at the knee, he was moving in slow motion. He's like did a pat on my head. It's nothing. He didn't even hit. He wasn't trying to do anything too aggressive. He's playing around, and I was obviously not trying to do anything aggressive. We're just messing around. So if the glass had not fallen down, it would have been a little bit longer back and forth, but it wouldn't have been too aggressive or anything. And he was still under control. He just looked at it as great. He knew he had a great video soundbite. He was like, "I'm getting out of here right now," and he took off running, literally. Not because he was scared. It's because he knows if he shows anything else, it will not be as good as we just leave right now.
Wait. So that moment ends,
and then I go teach other people for like the next 2 hours.
And he runs away.
He left immediately. I only saw him for like 10 minutes. With me, he was only in there for like 10 minutes while I was there. 15 minutes, something like that.
But
I was there for like 3 hours.
So no, and I like knowing though that there was no real interaction or aggressive behavior leading into this.
No.
He then just sees you at this event.
Talking. Yeah,
just sees you at the event, whatever. This moment happens. He gets what he, I'm sure, feels is the perfect clip.
Yep.
For him to now have on his Instagram.
Yes.
It essentially goes viral.
Yes, that's exactly one. That's exactly.
And then after it's over, he's out. He's got what he needs. He's gone. Have you spoken to him since?
Text messaging. Yep.
Yes.
And the texts are positive. He's not tripping.
All right.
No, I got your ass. It's not like that.
Because he does post, and I'll just put this up, which I thought was, I guess, nice, right?
All right. Yes.
That's on Sean Strickland's Instagram.
I sent that out, and I said, this is his doctor. His name is Sean. And I went to the chiropractor the next morning. And so I attributed, going to the chiropractor to Sean Strickland's thing. I was like, Sean, because of Sean, I have to get my back adjusted. I was already hurt.
Yes.
It's love between you two.
Back already, not doesn't hurt at all, but honestly, I wish I would have gone there at the beginning of the week. But my back, I always have a lower lumbar issue. And so what I just was playing a lot. Hey, Sean, come see this Dr. Sean. The other Sean made my back hurt. Make me sit down on a glass cabinet.
But so for those only listening on audio, what I was doing, I was showing a photo of you at the chiropractor, but Sean Strickland reposts it and says, this guy's a good guy.
Yeah.
So it seems like through all of this imaginary beef is definitely quashed. He is a really good marketing guy. Like he knows what he's doing. That crazy show he's putting on is a crazy show.
And you know what? To be fair, what I think this shows the world is, I think when he originally commented to Timmy when you were a guest a year ago, I don't think he knew you well enough, right?
No,
yeah.
And I think he had some fun, but I also think you passed his test in the sense that I myself, as someone who trains, I occasionally see some of these martial arts videos, and there are some instructors where I'm like, that would never work in a street fight.
No, I get it.
Right?
Listen, I'm the number one critic. I am the number one critic. If I were not me, I'd be like, bullshit, total bullshit. But I would go to Detroit and I would check it. I would be like, let me go see this guy, see what this shit's about. And I enjoy it. It's not challenging to me. I enjoy sharing because I know it. Number one, I know it works, right? But I know it will help other people, save other people's lives. So for me, any opportunity I have to share the knowledge is opportunity to save lives. So that's what motivates me. So after 28 years, you get a chance, you get the feedback loop, right? So imagine if you shared something with someone and then they came back to you years later and said how great it was. It worked on this day, helped them save themselves or their family. Just think about that for a second, how you'd feel if it happened once. Now, in my case, it's happened so many times I can't remember, whether it's police officers or civilians. And it's I don't remember the people sometimes. I don't remember them at all. And they're like, remember you showed me this one thing or you told me this one thing and it worked. I mean, it saved me, it saved my kids, it saved whatever. It's amazing, man. And that's what I have to remember, that every person, even though we start off with animosity, sometimes with animosity, and still, they come back later with this great story of how the training saved their lives or whatever. Because a lot of the training we teach is academic. It's not just physical. People in the internet world think of it as just physical. The majority of what I teach is actually psychological. The psychological side of our tactics is the most important. Legal side is is important after that, and then the tactics. You don't understand psychology, you cannot understand human behavior, yours or others. If you don't understand law, you don't know what's legal or illegal, and you won't be able to tell without psychology, proper psychological training. You can't tell the difference between a real threat and a false threat.
Right.
So this is very important to your freedom, your survival in general, and of course, your financial condition. If you don't understand anything, you ruin your life. So some really good fighters right now that are in prison only because they didn't understand something at a certain time, or they're dead. A bunch of great fighters are dead right now.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think what's important too, because Commander Dale, no matter how good of a guy you come off on this podcast, no matter the truthfulness that you're saying and everything makes sense, there's still going to be people
100%
that are going to say, because there's already memes saying Sean Strickland went 2-0 last week, and they show him knocking out the one guy, and then they show him pushing you into the thing. I want to go back to make sure that people understand. And I was already saying this before you said it, so I'm so happy. You're demonstrating a technique. And what I always appreciate is when you're demonstrating the techniques with people, you can see that as they begin to lose their balance, you're always there to kind of brace their fall or kind of help them down, right? Like depending on the individual.
Unless we have pads on the floor. Yeah.
Plus the pads, right? Yeah. Or unless you have the pads. But you're always conscious of it and you're doing it at a speed.
Environments so it don't hurt people. Like we don't hit their head into things. Because when I was younger, obviously I wasn't that good at it. So I would hurt a lot. When I was in my 20s, I would demonstrate things and people would broken wrists, broken elbows, broken arms, because they would dare me. They would say things like, "Oh, I think I can hit you before you can do that." And I would say, "Try, okay, let's try it." And I wasn't mature enough to be able to communicate like I can now, and so I would break them. I would literally break bones, and I thought it was funny. I didn't have any money. I didn't have. You could sue me. I had nothing, and I didn't know enough about the law quite yet mentally to understand, how this could be applied, to my actions could be considered, criminally negligent, right? So if I knew it could break a bone, I did it, and the person baited me to do it, they didn't think it would break a bone. I'm still I could be criminally negligent because I knew it would.
Yeah,
I did it anyway.
But
people by accident even.
Right. But so what I'm saying though too, and what people have to understand about that video is that you're doing it at a speed and an amount of force that is enough to demonstrate the technique
without taking out a person's ability to do their job.
Right. And then so when Sean then reacts with like an unexpected technique or with a different speed, I would also say that he was going a little bit faster than you.
Yeah, he went a lot faster. Yeah.
And your goal is to not be engaged in an actual altercation. It's to show one technique.
Yes.
This is not
pushing you. So I was demonstrating what to do for an escape when someone's pushing you back, right? Palming you back, bracing you. Common thing people run into. Someone's, trying to, bully you or push you or hold you against your will. Could be, this happens in office places, families. This happens all kinds of places, right? Happens at nightclubs commonly, right? Push you back.
Yeah.
So you can't just bust someone in the mouth because they pushed your chest back. That's not really going to be legal, right? And so anyway, we try to show things in a legal format too, right? So I show them the escape of the hand, right? Push the elbow, the wrist and the elbow, and then kind of grab my hand. I was like, okay, now we show you how to control someone. First one's escape, next one's control, and the next one after that is immobilization. That's the throat and the eyes, right? And so it's knees, throat, eyes. That's it. And so on this one, when he pushed back, I was going slow, as I'm supposed to, and he decided to go fast.
Yeah. And so, and I think it's just important that people know that, because it's like, well,
Yeah.
wait a second. And of course, Dale, people are watching this 10-second clip of
They're
it.
watching another video too. They're not watching our video. They're watching another angle.
Yeah.
And they also edit. I don't know if you saw the edit's really short. So the edit they show it goes like it goes like, oh, like he pushes and then I sit down and that's it.
Yeah.
Like he sat me down and ended
In like 3 seconds.
Yeah. And so that's one of the versions. Then some of the versions you see, they do play a little longer where you can see me get up and I put my hand on his arm and we talk for a minute.
Yep.
But some of them are really short. It just shows like he does move. I fall down to the sit down position, which is, I'm not sure it's a takedown. I think it's got to sit down. And then I don't know how that became a took down. I don't know how a sit down became a takedown.
Yeah.
You know what? So people defending you for that. You never fell, right?
Yeah, somebody that knows something about falling should have been like, damn, I thought the guy's out of shape. How do you do that? How did he fall back, smack the glass, and then stay on his and then sit straight down?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, because I'm surprised as well. Because if I wouldn't have been able to do my break fall fist move, that's really what that is, a break fall fist move. If I wouldn't have been able to do that, I would definitely have gone through that glass. There's no way. The glass just started going. And so then, you stick the glass, it's at your back, right? So normally your back braces against whatever it is, a wall. If there was anything there was solid, the whole thing would have been different if I could just braced.
Of course.
Or if I could step back. I mean, think about it. You can't step back. You can't maintain your balance. Yeah. So the thing fell. It's like it's against my shins. There's no. I'm very amazed. I was able to sit down straight down. I mean, they should be amazed by that. Like, how come we didn't fall through the glass? Try it at home. Like, push someone to some glass and see how they don't fall in the glass. That's no. I was still shocked. I didn't go to the glass yet. I was like, well, let's do another technique, but over here. And he took off. He's like, I'm out of here.
So do you have the videos that you're going to be releasing over time today. on yours?
Yeah. We're releasing today videos that show all the videos of the gun store and all the people inside the gun store and all the tactics we're doing with pro fighters in there.
Nice.
And real positive.
That's incredible. No, that's awesome. I always love your stuff. Like I said in the intro, like, look, you're spreading positivity. I love seeing the things that you do around the community, at sporting events, wherever you are a visible icon that people like know who you are, right? They see you. I don't know. Do you own any other clothes?
No.
No.
I have. I have just like 50 vests, 50 pants, shirts. That's all I need.
It's easy to know what to get you for Christmas.
I have a wetsuits version, so it's for water. If I'm going in the water, I got a light version if we're going out to eat in a nice place, like a bow tie with a bow tie on.
Commander Dale.
So we also got and my book came out this year, Detroit Urban Survival Chronicles, and the book chronicles stories. You see that kind of up on the wall here. So pushing here.
Nice.
And that's the book cover. Ooh, over there.
I like
nice.
Yep. And so the book is literally stories about helping people, rescuing people. You'll see another video come up today of a family we helped. A woman was being beaten by her husband, who has a good job. I don't know why people think they're poor people. They're not poor people. This guy has a really good job at a major auto plant. And he decides that he likes to beat this young lady, his mother of his 5 children, and put a gun in her mouth. And then that's when she realized she has to leave. Like he's been beating her. She's calling the police. Last time she called the police left, and she was beaten severely for calling the police. Then the next day he puts a gun in her mouth, and she sees he's escalating. So now she has to escape. And she goes to a shelter, calls a shelter rather. The shelter says, we can't help you. You have to get out on your own. But if you get out, we can help you. And they said, she said, how can I get out of here? I need my 5 kids and I don't want to be killed in here. And the guy takes the car and the car key, the car, every time he leaves, takes her car away. And he has his own car, but he takes her car so she can't leave. And so we go over there, we extract her and the 5 children and take her 2 hours north to a shelter so they can be safe. And so that's what you can do with your training. And I really want that's why I connect with these jiu-jitsu schools and other martial arts schools. So, my goal is to get these schools connected so that you have these people that can really use their training in real life for really good purpose, other than, getting hurt and hurt people, but you can actually rescue people. There's real people that need protection: women, children, old people, families, entire families, man. I mean, the husband and wife is there and the children, and they still need protection. And it's from people that want to fight and kill you. So it's a great way for you to test your skills too. And you get a chance to actually see what it's like to have someone try to kill you, because they don't want anybody coming between them. Predators, the predator type people don't want anything come between them and the people they select as their victims. And you can actually be that person to actually protect them. And it's a great feeling to use your skills this way. And to know that you could be killed. You can be killed in the sport. There are people dying in sports. They're getting severely injured, getting brain damage. But guess what? So this could happen to you too. You could be killed doing protection for people in the community. But it's a noble death. You will be dying or getting injured for a good reason. You know what I mean? Like your actions will directly make some kids, which is some adult in the future, their life greater. Right? They actually have a great quality of life because of your actions. And you take your jiu-jitsu or your judo or your karate or whatever it is you do, boxing, it doesn't matter. But you get to put yourself at risk for those that need someone to protect them. It's a great feeling, man. So that's my goal. But you see in the book that I wrote, Detroit Urban Survival Chronicles, you get to see how we actually applied our skills and our training to all these different aspects of keeping people alive and safe. Now, it's not law enforcement. There's law enforcement everywhere. Protection is what happens before you can enforce laws.
Right.
You can't enforce laws on what's going to happen. If you're going to get raped, robbed, murdered, abducted, you can't say, "Oh, let's have him arrested before he does that." You can't. It's not going to really work good. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and what if you don't really want to get someone in trouble and get him, law enforced because you don't want to be raped, robbed, murdered? What if your goal is to stay alive and free and safe?
Yeah.
Well, then you're not going to be able to use laws to do that. You're going to have to use some kind of other thing. And that other thing is protection. And so, I'm sorry.
To add to your point, I often tell people I trained when I was younger, but what got me back into training, one of the biggest parts, I'm a little different. And there were certain people that jumped me on the streets. And I remember I had some training in the back in my past that helped me get through those opportunities. But I always wondered what would have happened if I didn't have the prior training, and if these people that came for me were actually trained themselves, right? Luckily, they weren't. So just hearing you, I love what you do, because I feel so much safer and more confident in the world now that I've been training, and I know certain things that may be flashier, but I know the things that'll work quickly to disarm someone or get away quickly, or just survive for another day, whether it's myself or family.
Yes, exactly. And that's the point, is that a lot of things you see me teaching are like 3 steps or less. So if you notice that, it's always 3 steps or less. And that's because in real life, from violent conflicts with gangs that we've had over many years, we learned, I got a chance to see. So imagine when you coach someone, you coach them, you train them, you coach them, and then you get to see them box. You get to see them, go to MMA fights you trained them for. That's how you actually learn what worked and what didn't.
Yes.
Right. And so I got a chance to see my men and women out there fighting as I am fighting these violent individuals in gangs. And I got a chance to see them processing. Now, I learned what techniques worked and which ones did not at weight class. I learned what techniques worked and didn't work because I had so many people to see the feedback from. It wasn't like just me or 2 people or 10 people. Now it's been thousands. But imagine getting the feedback from thousands of people you trained in your system versus feedback from actual conflicts: guns, knives, vehicles, bricks, bottles, bats. But you get a chance to see the feedback, like what happened then, or what happened then. It's invaluable. And so what I'm sharing is what I learned, not what I learned originally from martial arts. That's why it's kind of hard for me to focus on that. People ask me questions like, "Where's your training from?" It's a lot of different martial arts, but that my mind has de-emphasized all of it because it wasn't relevant anymore. It's like trying to ask someone who does something about the class they took to be able to do the thing that they do, right? Like, well, who taught you how to do whatever it is you're doing? What class do you take to become a doctor? What class you take? If the doctor's a successful surgeon, whatever they're doing, they don't really remember all the classes. They know they took some, right? And first, if you don't do something, what's going to be most important that you're going to classify as valid information for you is going to be qualifications, not actual outcomes. So the qualifications are more important than capability. So I'm not going to go to war. I need to show you I can break bricks. I need to show you I can break this wood. I need to show you I can do splits. I can jump in the air and do certain kind of kicks up in the air. That'll be how we do it in my school, so that we can show your effectiveness with this training. Otherwise, if you're using it in conflict, they would never ask about your training. They ask you, did you win the war? Did you win the battle?
Yes.
So those two things are separate. You would never sit around going, I see you guys had a battle. And what class did you take?
Yeah.
They're fighting today, and you want to talk about the classes. Yeah. No, you want to talk about the battle, like what we physically did, like to win. Isn't that what's important?
Right.
And so I'm getting a lot of feedback from people who are still interested in documentation and words about training. I can verbally dominate anyone with a bunch of historical knowledge and skill set and all things I did, but I don't choose to do that. I choose to focus on what's important, and that's knowledge about what I know works. It can help people. And and what a lot of people are caught up in, and I noticed, is that they want to always talk about background and qualifications. That's fine as long as you don't have effectiveness that's already been proven. So you could ask, like, what did you study that helped you succeed? You could ask me that. That'd be good. Like, what classes do you take that could help you? You know, maybe I could take the classes too. You can't, because that's not how it worked. It worked through heuristics, right? So I tried things, it didn't work. Meaning I tried it with my students, my team members. I had to try this. We got rid of that because they couldn't pull it off. Doesn't mean I can't pull it off either. So I kick people in the head. Why is that? Because I started with Taekwondo. My first martial art, traditional art, was Taekwondo. So that was 80% kicking, and I liked it. So I'm a kicker. So I don't teach kicking a lot, because I know how hard it is to get that flexibility, the timing, all those things to be able to kick someone in the head with the proper foot position. I was taught, unlike a lot of people you see today, kicking proper foot position and hip position and all those things. That takes a lot of hours, right? So I do a few kicks, but not a lot of intricacy, because you don't have time to learn all that. It's also not very effective under a lot of conditions. So, you know, what I'm doing is focus on the things you need to know that can really help you, and they can stay with you. And I got a chance to see rate of decay as well. So after all these years, I got a chance to see what people can't remember. So there's people I didn't see for 10 years, 20 years, you know, and I go, okay, let's see what you remember. Gun, knife, you know, it's amazing, man. So now imagine all that. You got to see what works, what doesn't, and how long it takes to lose the training as well. And that's what you see now, is what I know you can remember, you can actually use, even with minimal training.
Nice. Commander Dale, we have kept you far too long. I appreciate everything you've said. Like, it is crazy. It is so good to see you again. I'm so happy for where your career has taken off. I don't want to say that it's all thanks to this podcast, but I
remember you though. I remember you were one of the first people to interview me, and I was so honored. You know, like I was honored when I heard from ESPN that I heard from ESPN. They said, you know, Bass Rutten, ESPN came out here. I was on the front page of ESPN. Unbelievable. I have no idea how I got there, but okay.
Amazing.
They said, Bass Rutten said he would break your neck if you try to get out of his rear naked choke. I was like, Bass Rutten knows my name?
Yeah,
Bass Rutten knows my name.
As goals.
About Bass Rutten saying that. I was like, Bass Rutten knows my name. I can't believe he knows me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he knows me. I'm supposed to be upset or something, because I'm not. I'm honored to be threatened. I'm honored.
Commander Dale.
Legend? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I don't know what to say.
Commander Dale, I want to take 2 seconds to ask you one last question, if you don't mind. And I know we're not set up in an area where you can show a demonstration or anything like that. But based on recent things, people are saying that if someone strikes you, you're automatically entitled to strike them back. And yeah, right. Now, what you talk about being able to restrain someone, or your legal obligations and things like that, right? Can you just explain? I don't know if this is a good question, but can you explain the best way to restrain someone if they are striking you and you do not want to strike them back?
So the best way to think of the first part of that question would be this. You can only strike someone if you are in danger. So you're not going to be able to say this 6th grader hit me.
Yeah.
This 17-and-a-half-year-old hit me. It's not the way the courts work. That under 18-year-old person in the United States could be older than you, bigger than you, and Canada's probably has similar rules. But definitely if they're a minor, you're not going to. Mr. Miyagi would have that movie would have ended as soon as he jumped over that fence and hit those minor kids.
Yes.
Or caused them to hit themselves. Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, Mr. Miyagi would have been following a kid. Did you have permission from Daniel San's mom? No, you did not. You did not, sir. You're stalking a child. Number 2, you then engaged in conflict. You never called the police. You never sought legal intervention. So you saw the violence. You did not call the police. Strike 2. Strike 3 shows intent to do harm to children. You then approached the kids and you physically interacted with them, whatever. You Daniel San, whatever. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is you're getting prosecuted, sir.
Yeah.
Getting none of that. All right. So then the concept of striking. First of all, you don't really want to strike people. Why?
Right.
Number 1, it leaves evidence on people. Right? You hit them. If you hit them, that's 1 foot in the door of jail. Number 2, you can also lose your money if you have it. So if you have money, you like it. If you have freedom and you like it, hitting is not in your best interest if you can avoid it. That's what makes jiu-jitsu so great for a lot of things, right? If you can avoid hitting someone, jiu-jitsu's got a lot of options for you to avoid the hitting of people, right?
Right.
So if you're going to restrain them and they're striking you, the first thing I would do if they're going to strike is I'm going to kick them in their belt area. Right. And what that does, and if I don't have that kind of space, I lunge at them with my knee, which makes them come forward, and then I use their arm to bring them down into an arm bar to the ground. And so I use their head to guide them down, and used their head to guide them down. So I speak in the past tense. That's what I did. So I'm not saying would. I'm saying did. Right?
Yeah.
I did kick them in their stomach because my leg is stronger than their arms, and they don't understand how to even defend against a kick, especially if you know how to kick properly and fast through the midsection. You kick through them, not to them. So we don't do any slashing. We kick straight into the target with the intention to destroy the target. So a lot of
wait. Hold on, Commander Dale. I don't want to hurt this person at all.
So let's say it's you get approached, because I like your analogy with the Miyagi, by a 14-year-old who's not big.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hurt them.
You don't want to hurt them, but they strike you across the face.
You start running quickly. I've done it. I've had to do that before.
All right.
Okay.
I literally had to run away.
Yeah.
All right.
Physically, because I'm not going to be fighting a minor. It's not going to happen.
All right.
But if they're in your face and you can't move away, is it just restraining the wrist?
We got to keep moving away. First of all, and make sure you weren't the progenitor of the problem. You can't create the problem and it'd be legal for you to do something back, right? Self-defense is not, I'm, doing something I shouldn't be doing, and then you attack me, then it's self-defense too. So remember, You've got to be not causing the problem. When you're walking away or trying to get away and they hit you, then you have to restrain them. What I would suggest you do is get wrist or elbow control. Stay away from the shoulder, and you want to get wrist, elbow control, period. And as long as you do that, you can secure them. You take the elbow straight to the ground, pin it to the ground, and pretty much that's gonna stop 99.9% of all humans. Not elbow to the ground. And you want to refrain from striking as much as possible, even in the midsection, like with your knees and other things, because people are filming, and people are recording, and the person that attacked me that was 14 was a part of a mob group of people that were attacking a lady and her children. And the 14-year-old, which was attacking me and other team members, she was pregnant and she was about 2 inches taller than me and about probably 20 pounds bigger than me. She was much larger than me at 14. I didn't know she was a minor. Someone started yelling. Otherwise, I would not have known. I thought it was a woman. And she was much bigger than me. I'm 240, 5'9". She must have been like 5'11", 6 feet tall, somewhere in there. And she was about she'd be like 270.
Yeah.
And she was pregnant and she was very violent. And she she was ripping at a child and ripping the child's arms and legs. And she was trying to rip the child from the mother. And then when I peeled her off this way, then another person grabbed the baby and threw the baby in the air as they grabbed another child. They were trying to take these women's children physically, a mob of people.
Yeah.
And one of them is a minor. So they were by the way, there's another 20 people filming from all directions. So all it would take is one video of me, winning the fight against the giant 14-year-old. Oh, and by the way, there's a 22-year-old who looked like she was about 6th grade, but she's 22. So remember how it looks matters. So they're video recording this.
Yeah.
So again, another example why I can't hit back. Right? This girl is going crazy. She grabs the baby and literally throws it in the air, and I can't do nothing to her at all because it would look terrible under any conditions. There's no way that would fly. Remember that law is about how it's interpreted. Another reason you don't want to strike people is because bloodborne pathogens. We hit people, the blood from them goes in your blood in your hands, and now you've got whatever diseases they have is inside of you.
Yeah.
So you got evidence, you got bloodborne pathogens, you got things look bad, worse than they are. Like you didn't even hit them that hard, right? It looks like you really tried to kill them with your hand. You didn't even do all that. But the video looks so bad. You barely hit the person, but it looks horrible, right?
Yeah.
You're getting 1-inch penetration, but to them it looks like you're going to kill them with the punches. So you want to avoid punches whenever possible. And I've punched a lot of people. I just try not to. Choking is the best way to go. But even when you choke people, very important. Remember this, guys. If you have to choke someone, all these are for self-defense, or defense of others. Meaning, by definition, you did nothing to cause this. They are aggressing, not you are causing them to aggress. And they would not allow you to leave or that person to leave that you're rescuing or that you're helping. Okay, so that's self-defense. It's exigent circumstance. Remember that word, exigency. So if it's not exigent, it's not self-defense. So if they say, leave this gas station or I'm going to attack you, technically you have the right to stay at the gas station. But when you stayed there, you're now creating the conditions for conflict, which means you can be prosecuted in many jurisdictions. So it's best for you to leave and call the police. Because remember they said you could leave.
Interesting.
Now, legally, you don't have to leave. But if you stay, then it could be said that you stayed willingly to get involved in conflict.
I get that.
See that? Isn't that weird? A law can be twisted.
I'll never
Now,
forget
it doesn't have
that.
to be the police could come there and articulate the report in a great way for you. Or if they don't like you, they'll articulate the report a different way. And be like, Citizen A could have left. Citizen B attacked because they had a problem with each other. Well, actually, Citizen B threatened Citizen A. Okay, but that may not be how they wrote it down. And as a result, you're now fighting for your freedom. So that's why I teach what I teach. So you're very conservative. So you're always on the inside of the law. So you cannot be convicted of a serious crime. You can still be arrested. Anyone can be arrested. But we want to create the condition where at least you reduce the likelihood of being seriously incarcerated for a serious crime, which can be very easy. You can literally be putting someone in a rear naked choke. I've held people in the RNC, technically called the RNC. I've held them in this position many times for detainment for law enforcement. Okay, but I'm in uniform of some type. And when I wasn't in a uniform of some type, I almost got my head cracked open by responding officers. Right? I had a guy on the ground who was, almost knocked me unconscious. And I did knock him unconscious. And I put him in a ground hold RNC, right? And I used my pants leg as my my anchor. And I got low on his head, so he's much bigger than me. And I put my arm up to get people off, because people don't realize this. In when you're fighting in a non-controlled environment, other people get involved.
Yeah.
Brothers, friends,
of course,
witnesses, people that just want to help the other guy. Like they don't even know that guy spit in my face, call me a bunch of names, inappropriate names, and then hit me in my throat. And he was doing good for a minute until he wasn't. And then the police came there like 5 minutes after I dominated him and put him into a ground RNC anchored with my pants. And while I was on the ground for like 5 minutes, people kept walking up to me trying to help the guy that I'm holding to the ground. And at the time I was working security for a place. We didn't have any uniforms though. We had like regular clothes. And next thing you know, the police showed up, baton up. They were just about to come down on my head. And like security, the managers just happened to step in just in time. I was about to get my head cracked open. So
I feel like you should have a show on like true crime TV or ID Discovery. Like, do you know
that's our goal.
Kinda
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yes,
Like,
that's our goal. Wait,
read,
if you guys read the book, it's available on Amazon.
yes,
It's also available on our website. But if you read the book, you're going to see it's pretty amazing the stories, because they're not like anything else, because they're real. So when they're real, they don't follow any of the normal ways of thinking, and you get an insight. Also, in these movies, some of these stories are not they're not necessarily legally correct, because that's how I learned. So I made mistakes
Right.
in the book. So these are real stories. So they don't follow necessarily they're definitely not what I would do today. So a lot of them are not what I would do. I learned from the lessons. This is like 35 stories of 250 stories. And the next book's going to include a lot of shootings. This one has some situations involving firearms, but the next one's a lot more shootings and lots of violence, but also how we manage the violence. And this is something everyone can do. You can all learn it. That's the point.
yes, I'm excited.
Commander Dale,
Yeah.
I thought I was having you on for like 5 minutes to talk about Sean Strickland.
Been longer than 5 minutes?
It's just a little over. Commander Dale, you are the absolute best. I greatly appreciate your time and for coming on. And thank you so much to you and your team and your wife. I appreciate you all. And I'm glad to be able to call you guys friends, because, getting to know you and hearing your story last time and this time, I really hope that it brings light to what you're doing, that you are not just an Instagram star.
Yeah. For me, that's all side stuff.
You're a real guy doing real stuff, helping real people.
Yes.
I like that Sean Strickland, it's not a real beef. It's not a real thing, that he is a good guy, that you two are good.
Yeah. That guy is a professional. Someone should be hiring him for their campaigns, because he knows what he's doing.
Good. Good. So, Braydbunch, before we let Commander Dale go, is there anything that you wanted to say to him?
You know what? I'm a fan. I love all that you do. And I don't know if you get DMs on Instagram, but I may reach out to you.
Please do.
To collab maybe, or get you out to New York to train people.
Yeah, come on down. Come to Detroit, please.
I would love that. I big D12 Eminem fan here.
Oh, man.
So
D12, I know D12's manager back in the day.
That's awesome. I make music. I have a song. I haven't released it yet, but with Bizarre from D12.
Oh yeah, nice.
So,
yes,
nice.
Small world.
Yes.
It is, Commander Dale. And Commander Dale, before we let you go, is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers, fans, and listeners of Fight and Sight podcast?
Just that we need to all look at each other as family. Everyone needs to look at other people as your family. And when you are thinking about defending yourself, look at ways, or defending others, look at ways not to kill people. That's also why we partnered up with a company called Byrna. And Byrna brought us to the SHOT Show this year in Las Vegas. And we got a chance to demonstrate our Byrna technology. We have customized Byrnas that we built here. And these are non-lethal, less lethal devices that fit into our anti-kill philosophy. I have an anti-kill philosophy. That is the belief that there's always a way to preserve life under all conditions. And that's what you should seek. And that's what we do. So we find a way not to injure and kill people by design, by training constantly to do that. And that's what I like to share with everyone in your audience, is that that's what we should all be doing. Looking at people like family. Remember that the key to protecting people is loving people. You have to love humanity to protect humanity, right? And that the true enemy is not the people, it's violence. So you have to look at violence as the enemy. So if somebody does something, remember, it's not the person, it's the violence that they're doing. So you stop the violence, then you stop. That's no longer a person that needs to be managed, right? So in general, just remember that, when you're managing threats for yourself or others, once the threat's over, you stop. And that's how you can save yourself and your family immediately. So if someone hit you and they walked away, getting back to your question earlier, someone hit you and walked away, there is nothing else to do. Except call 911 and get their license plate number and have them charged with assault and battery. That's it. There's nothing else to do. They hit you and they walked away. There's no chase them down and re-hit them, right? That's what you want to do, right? They hit you 29 times. They hit you 30 times, right? You hit them one time, bam, and then they leave. You can't go back and get revenge for 29 hits.
Yes.
Although you feel like it. It feels, the movies we watch growing up says we can't. But in real life, once the person's no longer imminently attacking you, you cannot attack them anymore. So, I'd sum it up with that.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Increase survivability.
Wait, say that again. I talked over it.
Intelligent options increase survivability for everyone.
Yes.
Boom.
And Byrna, check this out when you get a chance. Byrna is the product. And the Byrna rifles and pistols, they allow them in Canada and everywhere else.
Yeah.
These are devices that allow you to stop threats without killing people. So look into that.
I will. Commander Dale, thank you so much. The next time you are cornering another fighter, even thinking about doing that, hit me up because I want to know.
I got one for you. K2 Combat coming in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yes, and that is in April. K2 Combat. So we're going to be a part of this promotion. It's a fight promotion there. K2 Combat. So you definitely got to have us back on. So I'll go into more depth, more in detail with you. But it's going to be a lot of people there, a lot of fighters, and a lot of other professional celebrities in that area. So K2 Combat, April in Atlanta.
Nice. Well, we will talk to you again maybe sooner than later, Commander Dale. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything. Take care, be safe, and good luck with everything you do.
All right, man. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Take care. Bye, guys.